You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Are you ready to learn the 3 secrets to launching a successful podcast? Hi, I'm Bill, a recent client of the Podcast Mogul. If you've been thinking about starting a podcast but aren't sure where to begin, he's got you covered. He is hosting a free webinar where he will share the 3 secrets that can help you launch, grow, and monetize your podcast without any fancy equipment or technical headaches. Click the link in the show notes to save your spot now and let him help get your podcast off the ground.
Welcome to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. Join the Podcast Mogul Phil Better as he interviews successful entrepreneurs that make their living in the digital world. Now, let's join your host, Phil Better, and his special guest today on Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. I am, of course, your host with the most, Phil Better, the podcast, and I'm excited to introduce our guest today. He is a LinkedIn expert who helps business owners leverage LinkedIn to generate leads and grow their business. He's the author of Build a LinkedIn Profile for Business Success and has been using LinkedIn since 2004 by publishing articles and exclusive content about advanced strategies on the platform. So I am very happy to introduce, ladies and gentlemen, Daniel Alfon, who helps executive entrepreneurs grow their business with his programs and done-for-you premium packages. Thank you so much for being a guest with us today. I'm excited to learn about your journey and how you can help experts use LinkedIn.
Thank you very much, Phil. I'm very glad to be with you.
So I read off this beautiful little intro of yours that I wrote, and it tells us a little bit about yourself, but why don't you give us a bit more of a robust intro?
With pleasure. So investing in myself became almost as an accident to me. I started using LinkedIn, as you said, into early 2004, and 2 years later, I held a sales position, and I needed to beat my quota, and it started very badly. And then one night, I remember LinkedIn showing me the name of the person I needed to reach out to within the organization. And Phil, back then, this was a huge way to slash my sales cycle and to beat my quota and to find more time. And that's the moment I decided to dive into LinkedIn to see what's under the hood. And then, we start helping friends. Those friends ask you to train their staff. And one day you wake up and say, this is what I'm doing. Let's specialize and drop everything else. And this brings me to a conversation with the podcast mogul himself.
I love it. So you weren't always an entrepreneur by nature, were you? Were you throughout your youth, were you starting little side hustles, little businesses here and there, or were you more typically like a 9-to-5, an employee?
Great. So my career started as an employee. I had no entrepreneurial, I didn't grow up knowing, selling lemonade when I was 5 or anything like that. My dad was an entrepreneur, and I think some of the methods and some of his attitudes, I found that it sticks with me when I started my entrepreneurial journey. And once you start it, it becomes easier to understand why you're doing it and to understand and what you'd like to help people achieve.
When was the moment? What was the why that you decided, yeah, this is why I'm going? Was there a specific why moment that you had, or was it just because of circumstance?
Circumstances do play a part in this, but I think one of the greatest benefits I perceive in being an entrepreneur or freelancer is that I can fire clients. Or put it more mildly, I can decide not to work or not to continue to work with someone because I don't like the attitude or the way they're conducting themselves professionally. And as an employee, that's usually not the case. If you're hiring, if the manager asks you to do something, or if the company requires you to do something, then you don't have a lot of choice other than quitting. And since I only need to work with happy clients, I developed a whole method of either referring potential clients to people I know that could help them better, or to send them, prepare some homework before they reach out again, and I know that they would never reach out again. So that's one of the moment I felt I wasn't comfortable working with someone. I just found a way out to enable them to work with someone else. I slept better, and no dollar amount can even come close to your feeling of fulfillment and happiness versus the stress and anxiety that could be associated with working with someone you don't like for a long time.
I love that, because I think when we look at it, like you said, as an employee, you don't really have that choice. You're stuck working with these individuals, either clients or colleagues, if you will, and you can't do much about it other than quitting. Quitting's the only option you have, and that hits the financial pockets a lot more, and it's not usually an option. Whereas being in a digital business for yourself, you can have that option. You can find that client that you want to work with. That's not going to be a headache, that allows you to sleep. How long did it take you to figure that out when you did transfer over from the 9 to 5 employee mentality into the freelancer mentality, or the entrepreneur mentality?
I'd guess probably 2 to 3 years. I remember I listened to the episode you released with Kyler Miles, when he described the fact that he was fired. In retrospect, is the best thing that happened to him. But of course, when it happens, you're full of worry and you don't know what the day brings. I found that an additional benefit of being an entrepreneur is that people who work for the same company for many years hardly develop the networking muscle. One of my major clients is an outplacement firm, and I happen to meet people, very talented people, sharp, technical, but they've been with the same company, same corporate for 10, 15 years, and they hardly know the external world, and they pay a high price. And as a digital entrepreneur, you need to act, you need to be agile, you need to act fast. It's not always easy, but it makes you stronger, and in the beginning is usually the hardest part to cope with.
How did you develop that networking skill? Like, was it just finding your clients and the clients connecting you with referrals, and that's how you build your network? Or what did you do to build that networking skill?
I love the question. I think networking is probably the single most important skill I learned or I have as a person. It's way more important than LinkedIn. Okay, 90% of my revenues can be attributed to LinkedIn, but basically, if you only use the tool and you don't understand the importance of building rapport with people, then your achievement will be limited by the tool itself. And networking is way, way, way more important than the tool. I think that's one of the things I picked again from my late dad, because I saw that the way he was helping people that would not do business with him. He was in real estate, and 70 or 80% of people will not sign, will not see the condo or the apartment that he showed them, but they would return sometimes years later, 8 years later, saying, you know what, I remember the last time you helped me, and now I'm ready, or now I'd like this person to meet you. So it's a very long-term strategy, and you never know if something good will happen, but you sleep better, and eventually karma has a way for rewarding you in the long run.
I love that. I love how you're not looking at the short term. It's a long-term game. And I think a lot of people have forgotten that life is very long. Like, we have, if someone's born in the 80s, the 90s, they're looking at least until 100 years old. Like, that is becoming a more common term. So you have to look at your life in those longer terms, instead of saying, okay, but if he doesn't pay me today, he's not, the client is not useful. No, the client, like you said, you saw it with your dad. 8 years later, they would come back and be like, I'm ready to sign an apartment with you, or I'm here to refer you business. And it's a long-term game, but by keeping the value alive, by always providing value.
You're absolutely right. Investing in yourself is does not contradict the way you help your clients or you serve other people. It's just a way for you to help them or to serve them better. And investing in yourself should also include a time that you would do something that are good for you, whether to reskill or find or learn new technologies or new skills, because our world is changing, and digital entrepreneurs launching their business in 2023 will find that in 2 to 4 years, who knows the sort of challenges they'll have. We can speculate about that and about ChatGPT forever, but we don't know.
I love ChatGPT and the world of AI and what it's bringing, because it's lessening the barrier of entry for people going into the world of digital entrepreneurship. It is, I recently read this with copywriters, because copy is very important, especially with LinkedIn, because you have to get that the wordage right and all that. The person who was talking, this is someone who's been in copywriting for decades. They said Chat GPT is a junior copywriter. If you put, and it's true, and if you look at it, it's a junior in everything, because it all depends on the inputs you put. So someone who is a master like yourself can put in the prompts necessary to get at least a basic article that then you can go in and take to the next level.
Wow, thank you very much. You're very kind, and it's fascinating because the moment the barrier is lowered, makes us need to perform better. Again, in another episode, I was listening to a discussion you held with Henning Schultz, and you asked him about the equipment that he used in the beginning. So it was clumsy physical cameras, and now everyone with a cell phone basically could be a producer or a videographer. And that means you need to sharpen your tools, because if everyone thinks they can do it, then you need to help people in another way, in a new way. But I'll quote you: when you find a good tool, it's forever. And networking for me is the best.
Love it. Yeah, and networking is like I can't stress enough how important networking is, because once you have a network, you refer someone, like you said, if there's a client that you don't want to work with because they're not going to be the ideal client for you, you have a network of people that can actually help them. So you're helping your friends, your colleagues, your network, and you're creating a network that is now more valuable for that individual, because they know, hey, if I help this person already helped me. I didn't even have to ask, and they already helped me, which I think is monumental. It's monumental being that person that helps grow your network, that creates the network that everybody can become better at. Now, talking on creating a network, how would you suggest someone deciding to go from the world of 9 to 5 into the world of digital entrepreneurship, maybe stopping in freelancer world, because most of us do that before we go into the full entrepreneur world? What tip would you have for them to use LinkedIn specifically to start the process?
Excellent. So the low-hanging fruit would be to understand that they may be living the 9 to 5 job, and they may change the employer or the badge, but their network again can continue with them. And who could be a better referral or someone that could help you grow your business than colleagues? You may have worked with someone in show communication maybe 5 years ago, and they remember you as X. But if they had a good relationship with you back then it's important as a new digital entrepreneur to let your network know that you're transitioning or you're pivoting into offering something else. Because these are the people that could say, you know what, I have no idea what that means, but you need to speak to Phil. I heard you wanted to launch a podcast. I hardly listen to podcasts, but Phil is the good person to speak with. And the way they describe you as a person is way more important than the cold, hard services we may offer. Because if I come as a referral, I'm a warm lead. I'm less price sensitive. And I probably will be able to send new clients your way if I'm happy with the results. So referrals is the best way I found to bring referrals and to onboard new clients.
I love it. No, that is a great piece of advice, because your current network is where you're going to get your business, and it says that I know my father worked in insurance, and he says the first thing you do is you go to your friends and family to see if they need insurance, because that's the go-to. Go to your network, and your network should be able to help you at least either refer you business or actually give you business. And so, yeah, using your current network to help them grow and get those case studies, but also potential clients is a great piece of advice.
Perhaps the second question I would ask is whether, if you had to pick one, Phil, in 3 years' time, would you like to be the most connected or the best connected on LinkedIn?
The best connect.
Cool. So the significance of that is that instead of just growing your network, you need to stick to people you know well. So if I look at your profile on LinkedIn and I see that we share one mutual connection, Sarah St. John. If you look at her and you have no idea who Sarah is, we're not able to get a referral from her. But if you can tell me, of course, I work with Sarah, she has the Frugalpreneur show, and it would be a good connection, then when I ask her to introduce us, she will have a better chance of helping us start a meaningful conversation. And it's very tempting to try and be both, to try and aim for quality and to try and aim for quantity. The hard truth digital entrepreneurs need to understand is that on LinkedIn, they're mutually exclusive. You can't. You need to pick one. If you want to grow your network and you want to go to 30K, you'll have a lot of exposure. That's fine for some people. That's fine for some services. If you're in a trust-based business, then 300 people you know well can bring you referrals for a decade. Just pick one. And then the secret is really running an advanced search and see who your ideal prospect would be, and leave LinkedIn, reach out to that mutual connection, ask how they've been, and ask whether they are able or do they feel comfortable making that introduction. You don't have to work hard. You just have to work smartly.
It's a world of working smarter, not harder, that we're moving into, and I love it. I would love to know, in your journey so far, has there been a moment that either certified or cemented the idea of why you started becoming a digital entrepreneur? Or do you have a story, a memory that, as a digital entrepreneur, a success that one of your clients had, or one of the people that you've helped had, that just cements, yeah, this is why I help people?
One of the best recollections I have is people reaching out, years after we've spoken or we've met, and saying that some of the things we've done resonated with them and helped them in their journey. And it's always a pleasant surprise to hear that you don't often know in real time. And on a personal level, I think when my business was hit at one time, I looked again at the why, and I decided I want to become a digital entrepreneur, not because the market is difficult for employees, but because it gives us more flexibility and more freedom. And I was willing to pay the price. There is a price. There is a price, but I think it's worth it.
I want to touch on that, because I don't think enough digital entrepreneurs talk about the price and the toll it takes to go into this world. Yes, there's a big upside. Like, we have that freedom. We can fire customers. We can choose who we work with. We can choose when we work the hours, and we all do that. But let's talk about the price, like the stress that comes with it.
Especially if you transition from 9 to 5 corporate world to becoming a freelancer, like you said, or a digital entrepreneur, then sometimes the first thing to look at is your family. If you in a relationship, then it's nice that you as a person you want to become an entrepreneur, but your wife or your fiance or the person you're living with, they need to understand that it's going to be a bumpy ride, but you're going to get through this together. And the uncertainty is something that as digital entrepreneurs, we grow accustomed to, and we learn how to deal with it, and what can be done in weaker times when we have some sometimes feast and sometimes famines, but we're not alone in our family. And it's worth having a discussion before the crisis happens about your long-term strategy. And I found that if you have that discussion before the crisis happens, before the conditions are difficult, before the discussion is emotional, it gives you more strength as a couple, and it gives you a lot more certainty as a business owner, because you know that you don't have to watch your back and you can focus on building your business and helping people, and the person you're living with understands the upside and the downside, and they're with you all the way.
I love that. I love that. That's a great piece of advice, but also something like the price to pay. Like you have to have that a support structure in place for you. Yeah, some people can do it alone, but if you're living with a partner, if you have that person who's with you, that you're committed, that a lot of entrepreneurs have, they need to be behind your goal as well. They have to be supporting you, because there will be those days or months where you're like, I don't know if I'm going to make ends meet, or you're overstressed because you accidentally decided to take on a client because you were needing the funds and it doesn't meet your ideal and they're stressing you out. And you need to have that person who's able to, or at least someone or something that can help you de-stress.
Sort of sometimes even thinking about the worst case scenario. In many, like you said, what we invest may be our time, but if we don't have, a logistic, a warehouse, or other employees, and we start basically just betting our time, then we could decide that we're doing this for X time, maybe 2 years, maybe 6 months, each based on their criteria. And if that doesn't work, then we will be able to discuss something else, just to show, the next step. And instead of imagining that we're going to lose the house and the kids will have no education, then you can limit it and show basically hedge your journey. And immediately after you do that, you build your business, and you make sure you never have to use that insurance policy you mentioned.
Advice. Daniel, we are coming near the end, and I hate it because I'm having a great time talking with you. I'm enjoying talking with you, but we do need to jump to the spark question of the show. Yes, that's Spark by Seek Discomfort, an amazing YouTube channel that you guys should follow. And if you're looking to broaden your horizons, the question today, and I think this is probably going to be great for you, is if you could recommend a daily practice that I had to do for the next year, what would it be and why? So not necessarily for me, but maybe for my audience, a daily practice that my audience can do in regards to maybe LinkedIn.
Cool. May surprise you, LinkedIn will not be the answer. I'll revert to networking. So what I would ask is this: who can use the information I'll learn today? Meaning that when you wake up, you're going to read a lot of newsletter, you're going to watch a number of videos, you may take a course, and just ask yourself, who do I know that this information could be beneficial to? You don't need to scout information, but you just have to remember that if someone could use that information, then this is one of the best ways for you to fill within really 40 seconds to shoot them a quick message with a link or the name of something, and that enables you to keep in touch with them when you don't need anything from them. And not just, nobody loves it when you only remember them when you need them. And if you can do that, the moment you do need their help, you feel a lot more comfortable asking for it, and more business will come your way because you've associated yourself with helping them. So the next time they're going to ask someone, okay, so perhaps a podcast would be a good solution for you. And then they would recommend that person to speak with you. They would go even farther because they remember, their short-term memory will be stronger with you as someone who can lead with value. Who can this information help?
I love that. No, it's great. It's amazing advice, and something that I didn't think of, but like looking back, I have done that, but it wasn't something regularly I would do. But now I will. Every time I read something, every time I look at something, I will go, who can who can it help? Because I think it is something we need to do, just to share, because like you said, it will build those bonds that can create the referral business that we need. And that. So Daniel, thank you so much for that amazing tip, that spark that just created a great conversation and a tip. So I'm going to jump off the screen here. I want you to let my audience know where they can find you, how they can support you, and anything else you'd like to let them know. So the floor, sir, is yours.
Thank you very much. The best way to go is danielalfon.com. And the second thing I would like to recommend is to invest in yourself.
Oh, okay. That was quick and easy, Daniel. I'm used to a little bit longer, but okay. Audience, first off, I want to thank Daniel for being a guest on the show and sharing not only that amazing tip, but also how to build your network. Think about the quality of your network versus the quantity of your network. Thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your expertise, sir.
Thank you very much, Phil. It's been a pleasure to speak with you.
To my audience, the links will be in the show notes to connect with Daniel. Of course, his website will be the top link. Make sure you go check him out. He has his book. I'm looking forward to, or pardon me, reading it. We didn't even talk about your book. I mentioned it at the beginning, but yes, your book is something that I'm looking forward to reading. I love that. I'm also going to look at it as who can benefit from that this knowledge and share it with someone, because hey, if I take in information, I need to be able to share it. And I suggest you guys take that into practice as well and see how that can help you this year. Daniel, thank you again. To my audience, remember to always, always invest in yourself.
Thanks for tuning in. Now it's time to take the next step. When you're ready to dive deeper into how to launch, grow, and monetize your podcast, Phil's got something special for you. Join him for a free webinar where he'll reveal the 3 secrets that have helped countless entrepreneurs succeed in podcasting. Click the link in the show notes to save your spot, and let's turn your podcasting dreams into reality.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.